Hi, today we would like to present to all of you about the language change in Malaysia with regards to Bahasa Melayu. We are from Group 6. Then, we move on to the list of contents. First, introduction. Second, Factor 1, technology and yard trends influence. Third, Factor 2, job requirement. Fourth, area where language change mostly occur in our country. Fifth, brief survey result. And at the end is the conclusion.
Hi and good morning to everyone. Today I'll be talking about language change in Malaysia. Before that, I would like to explain to you all what is a language. Okay, as we know, as nowadays, language is actually a tool that is essential in our daily life. I mean, it works to help us to interact between human beings, right? Yet it is taken for granted. I mean, language is not only a merely means of communication, it also helps us with the bridge to connect us. I mean, like helping us to convey our feelings, thoughts, and emotion between human beings, right? And it also helps us to create a bond between human beings by fostering a deep understanding and cooperation between one another, right? Okay. But also, it's not like the language is actually has it used just by that. I mean, take a look around. Like, we see that how we use language to express our emotion, our desires, and our thinking, like the ideas to elaborate it and help us to interaction more between one another, right? If language weren't exist in the world, it actually would make our interaction be more limited, right? Apart from that, language is not just tools for we sharing our emotions and feelings, but it also a structure that helps us to evoke our emotion. I mean, take a look about the tone and the rhythm and the sounds that when we try to express our feelings, right? I mean, when we are happy, we tend to get so excited, and the voice and the tone for our speaking would be at a high pitch. So I think language is actually very essential in our daily life.
To start with, the first factors of language change in Malaysia is technology and yard trends. Why technology and yard trends? Technology and yard trends is basically a prime mover of language evolution, as it is clear how and why the development of Bahasa Melayu, it is both spoken and written, is a prime case of language change in Malaysia, as it easily affects the technology and the yard trend itself. Then, we move on to the key factors that influencing language change. There are various factors that influence language change related to technology and yard trends, including first, impact of social media and technology. Second, lexical borrowing. Third, technological advancement. Then, semantic shift. And also, spelling changes and abbreviation. Last but not least, social factor and peer influence. Then, we continue with the impact of social media and technology in point of language change in Malaysia. First of all, technology and the yard trends have altered the language change in general, which was mainly due to the boom of social media platform. The first point, what is this? It is the instant messaging apps and online games, social media like Instagram, WhatsApp, and so on. The major users of the platform for sure are the youths, who tend to use informal language mostly and adopt spell-out abbreviated forms that borrow from other language or culture. For example, in Malay and also English, usually in Gen Z generation, we mostly use the phrases like "aku chill je" in Malay, which is mean that I'm just chilling. This is in turn has given a rise to a bahasa rojak, which means the mixture of both bahasa Melayu and English. So in the second point, which is in bahasa rojak, that meaning that mixture of both bahasa Melayu and English, this mixture of language will result to the code switching, whereby the speaker alternates between two different languages. And also, but based on these two factors, it will affect our own language itself. So then, language change happen. The other type of common language change in Malaysia in point of technology and yacht trends influence in language change is lexical borrowing. What is lexical borrowing? Lexical borrowing is words from English and the other language, including Bahasa Melayu, to make up for the new concept that come with technological advancement and related to technology and yacht trends for sure. For example, words such as viral and selfie. These two words and a lot of words have come into everyday speech, reflecting the influence of global digital culture nowadays. Another factor contributing to the language change in the aspect of technology and yacht trend is semantic shift. Semantic shift is taking up new meanings for already existing words. For example, mostly a lot of us use the word layan in Malay, which means to entertain, to indulge, or to engage in English. For instance, the phrases layan game will mean playing games in English. This semantic shift therefore demonstrates how language adapts to the needs and expression of its speaker, especially to us that live in a modern society. In point of spelling change and abbreviation, we can see that change in spelling also exists in both English and Bahasa Melayu, especially on the internet mostly. The use of abbreviation such as saya for saya and I in English and kau for kamu in Malay, but in English we use it as you, is one of the convenience abbreviation used in social media mostly, which is mostly being used a lot, like in apps like WhatsApp, Instagram, and so on. This shows that technology and the influence of it play a big role in language change nowadays. Last but not least, the yacht. My own generation, throughout the urge to appear modern, relatable, and even funny, lead the way in adopting and propelling new linguistic trends like peer influence and media exposure, further accelerating these changes to make them mainstream, like feeling relevant in point of social factor that commonly occur to the language change, meaning that in order to sound trending, to sound relevant, younger generation tends to change the language itself.
Next, we proceed to an important aspect of language change related to job requirements in Malaysia. As you know, Malaysia is a developing country. While this offers many opportunities for growth, it also presents challenges. One key challenge is the high demand for skilled workers. Many people are seeking jobs, but the competition is tough because employers are looking for specific skills that not everyone has. This demand for specialized skills highlights how language and communication evolve in the workplace to meet these needs. Let's look at how language use and job requirements are interconnected. In Malaysia, some job opportunities now require certification like CAFR or MUE. These certifications emphasize proficiency in international languages, especially English. As a result, individuals often prioritize learning and using these languages over their own ethnic languages. Over time, this shift affects how people use and maintain their ethnic languages. For example, many younger Sindhis are moving away from traditional occupations like merchant retail and pursuing careers as teachers, lawyers, and doctors. They feel there is no longer a need to speak their native languages in these professions. The same applies to private sector jobs where English is essential.
For instance, a human resources specialist needs to communicate effectively with both local and immigrant workers. Similarly, government jobs today require proficiency in both national and foreign languages to meet their communication needs. This trend shows how job requirements are reshaping language use in Malaysia, influencing both personal and professional communication. Language change can also be seen in the political arena, where it plays a crucial role in credibility and popularity. Politicians who are proficient in the English language often have an advantage. Their ability to communicate fluently in English can help them advance and secure their political careers. In a society where not everyone speaks English fluently, those who do are often held in high regard. For example, Datuk Seri Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, Malaysia's fourth Prime Minister, is a prominent example of politician who used his command of English to effectively share his opinion and persuade others. In some cases, mastering a language like English can not only enhance a politician's careers, but also inspire confidence among voters, ultimately influencing their decision at the polls. This highlights how language change can have a profound impact even in shaping political issues. Lastly, let's focus on the role of language change in the business sector. The business department is one of the key areas where language adaptability is crucial. Malaysia's multicultural society makes us a unique and vibrant country. Conducting business here is not limited to one ethnic group, but involves interactions with people from various backgrounds. As a result, business people need proficiency in English, which serves as a universal medium for communication. Additionally, being able to speak a customer's native language provides a valuable advantage. It fosters better connections, builds trust, and enhances the overall business relationship. This highlights how language skills are not only a necessity, but also a strategic asset in Malaysia's diverse business environment.
So, we will be discussing how language change mostly occurs in our country, particularly in media. In today's increasingly digital era, media, especially social media, has become a major platform for communication. It's not just a place where people interact, but also where language evolves. The rapid advancement in technology have significantly impacted the way we use language, introducing new terms, abbreviations, and expressions. So, we will explore how media has become the area where language change happens most frequently. Let's begin with social media. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are hotspots for language innovation. People online manipulate language to create new terms, often faster than formal institutions can document them. For example, words like to Google or Facebooking didn't exist a decade ago, but are now commonly used even though they're not officially listed in some dictionaries. This shows how the internet speeds up the process of language change. Here are some examples of how media influence language. Firstly, consider Pinterest. Traditionally, the word pin referred to a board, but online, pinning now means saving ideas digitally. You will hear phrases like, check out my pin, or I was pinning ideas for my project. Next, we have seen the rise of acronyms such as TTYL for talk to you later, or LOL, which is laugh out loud. These shortcuts make communication faster and more informal, and they are now used in everyday conversation. Media doesn't just create new words, it also changes how we write. A study by Agnes Veselsky revealed that teenagers incorporate digital styles even when writing by hand. For instance, Instead of drawing smiley face as traditional, they rotate them to create smiley or use terms like XD. This reflects how digital trends influence offline communication too. So, why does media play such a big role in language change? First, media is fast-paced and widely accessible. It reaches millions of people instantly, spreading new terms quickly. Secondly, the need for shorter, simpler communication in media, such as tweets or text message, encourage the creation of slang and abbreviations. And lastly, the integration of culture and technology ensures that media stays relevant, adapting language to fit modern contexts. So, to sum up, media has an enormous impact on language evolution. Social media, digital platforms, and even television constantly reshape how we use words and communicate. This is why media is the area where language change happens most frequently. It's dynamic, immediate, and influenced by culture and technological trends.
The questionnaires that we asked to the respondent is based on all of these aspects. First of all, we have the exposure to the other language due to Malaysian multicultural and diversity country. There are many races that live together in Malaysia, such as Chinese, Indian, Malaysian, and many more, that may influence the way people talk and also lead to the language change. Secondly, is based from younger generation use slang. For example, the term slay. Originally, slay means killing or defeating somebody, but nowadays the slay terms mean to define someone's attitude as a person who is full of confidence and kind-hearted. Third is the subtle changes in Bahasa Melayu. For example, DM or DM means direct messages, or PM personal messages in Bahasa Melayu, and in other terms it called as code switching or Bahasa Rojak. Fourth is a pressure to use another dominant language, that for example, when you are forced to master and able to understand that language due to your academic syllabus, or to speak with the communities. And lastly, whether language change is only occur among upper class family only. For opinion type of question, we do ask the respondents about does the younger generation play the significant role in order to preserve the language, and it is a compulsory to use the language change in formal event due to maybe the kind of guest or person that come to the event from an upper class family, upper class society, or foreigner. Do our society comfortable or prefer using another language rather than their own mother tongue because they feel comfortable using it? Also, the increasing words of English, the increasing of English words in Bahasa Melayu, in or another term, code switching. And here is the brief survey results. Shows the total of 23 respondents that we asked to. Conquering more than a half, strongly agree at 31%, and agree with 37%. While on the other hand, neutral response is 23% and bigger than the people who are disagree, which is 8%, and strongly disagree 1%. For conclusion, the respondents do agree and strongly agree that the language change is occur in Malaysia society.
In conclusion, language is far more than just a tool for communication. It's also a force that helps us shapes our knowledge and helps us to build relationship between one another, and helps us to exploring new ideas and persuading others, right? Apart from that, whether we are expressing ourselves or try to conveying ideas between one another, language is actually essential in our daily life. To sum up, we can say a lot how important it is language in our daily life, right? Apart from that, we can say that language change is actually affected by job opportunities and technologies has been spread widely. And this language change in regards to Bahasa Melayu happening because of the upturn youth influence. So let us all recognize the power of the language, whether it tries to connect, whether it's to build bridges and help us to connect between one another and try to make a connection between human beings and use it for positivity in the world. Thank you.
That's all from now. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. Have a nice day ahead, everyone.